What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction. In this, we have why are the British so eccentric in war? We're about to find that out. If you guys happen to enjoy, please don't forget to subscribe. Get a video a thumbs up. Also, if you guys have. All right, so thank you. Let's just dive in.
Why are Brits so eccentric in war? War, it's supposed to be grim, disciplined, and deadly serious. But leave it to the British to bring a bit of oddball charm to the battlefield. Whether it's making tea under fire, charging tanks with umbrellas, or playing the bagpipes in a POW camp.
What do you mean charging tanks with umbrellas? What? Huh? Say what now? What was tanks with umbrellas? Huh?
British troops have long blended courage with eccentricity in ways that often leave the rest of the world baffled. These quirks weren't just for show. They were sometimes bizarre, sometimes brilliant, and always unmistakably British. Tea time waits for no one. Perhaps the most famous British idiosyncrasy was the national obsession with tea. Conflict, destruction, or imminent death, none of it would come between a Brit and a good cuppa. During the Blitz, as German bombs rained down on London, mobile tea vans were dispatched to the ruins. They weren't armed, they didn't carry medical supplies, they carried kettles and tea. Firefighters, rescue workers, and ambulance crews all could expect a steaming mug waiting for them as soon as the flames were under control. This tradition followed British soldiers to the front lines. Mobile canteens were sent into combat zones solely to keep morale high through the simple act of serving tea. When these weren't available, troops improvised. Kettles were jerry-rigged, stoves assembled from scrap, and in the middle of a firefight, you might find a Tommy crouched behind cover, calmly boiling water. One such moment of devotion ended in disaster. In 1944, near the French town of Villers-Bocage, British tank crews paused to brew tea, only to be ambushed and destroyed by a single Tiger tank. That distraction proved fatal. Lesson learned. To prevent future casualties over tea, the British Army took action. Since then, their tanks have come equipped with internal boiling vessels, ensuring that a hot drink is always just a flick of a switch away. To this day, British tank crews can make a brew without exposing themselves to enemy fire. Absolute madmen. Jack.
I absolutely freaking love the British because nothing will come between them and their tea. The fact that this squad was killed because they paused to brew a cup of tea, the British saw that and didn't think, hey, no more brewing tea on duty, right? While you're, like I said, put the tea in the tank. Put the water boiling in the tank. They don't have to get out of it next time they want some tea. Brilliant by the British. Absolutely British. But if that tea keep morale up, then that tea is an absolute necessity. So let's go to the next story. I love that.
Churchill and the sword of war. When you hear about a man going into World War II armed with a long bow and a broadsword, you'd be forgiven for thinking it's a myth. But John Malcolm Fleming Churchill, Mad Jack to both his friend and foes, was very real. A professional soldier and champion archer, Churchill believed, as he put it, quote, "Any officer who goes into action without his sword is improperly dressed," end quote. He wasn't joking. During the retreat from France in 1940, Churchill and his men encountered a German patrol. With perfect composure, he took aim with his longbow and felled a German sergeant, the only confirmed kill with a bow and arrow in the entire war. Later in Norway,
That is literally freaking insane. My days. These Brits ain't up to these Brits.
He led charges armed with a claymore. On one occasion, he and a single comrade infiltrated a German position using stealth and steel. He approached their post in the dead of night and threatened them with his sword. 42 soldiers surrendered to the madman with the blade. When eventually wounded in Italy, Churchill, bleeding but unperturbed, calmly pulled out his bagpipes and played a Scottish tune until the Germans arrived. He was sent to a concentration camp. He escaped, captured again, escaped again, and when the war finally ended, he was reportedly disappointed, stating, quote, "If it wasn't for those damn Yanks, we could have kept the war going for another 10 years. Mad Jack may have loved the sound of his bagpipes, but sometimes you need to hear the world around you while still keeping your own soundtrack. That's where today's sponsor, Raycon.
Mad Jack. Mad Jack. What is up with you, my dog? What? You fear had completely left his mind. He loved to fight. He wanted more war. My day. Yeah, see, people like that, I guess I can't relate to because I would have been so thankful for that war to have been over. But the fact that he was bleeding, knew the Germans were coming, decided to play bagpipes into a concentration camp, caught, escaped again, and then mad that the war was over.
iRaycon.com/simplehistoryopen. Brought to you by Raycon, the Umbrella Commando.
This is insane.
If Churchill was a throwback to medieval warfare, then Major Alison Digby Tatham Warder was Victorian eccentricity in combat boots. Serving in the 1st Airborne Division during Operation Market Garden, he gained notoriety not just for courage, but for doing everything slightly oddly. Anticipating communication breakdowns, he ordered his men to learn bugle calls instead of relying on radios. He frequently forgot passwords at checkpoints, so he carried a large umbrella, reasoning it would be quite obvious to anyone that the bloody fool carrying the umbrella could only be an Englishman. It worked. In one engagement under heavy German fire, he calmly walked through the chaos to rescue the battalion chaplain. "Don't worry about the bullets, I've got an umbrella," he reassured him. Later, in an iconic moment of absurdity, Tatham Warder led a charge against German tanks, armed with nothing but a pistol and the same umbrella. Wearing a bowler hat for good measure, he thrust the umbrella into the vision slit of an armored car, injuring the driver and disabling the vehicle. Let it be recorded, a British officer once took out an armored car with rain gear. The Chindits, oddball.
I don't even know what to say. That just seems so impossible, so improbable. I'm at a loss for words. He ran at them with a tank. He ran at a tank with a pistol and an umbrella. A tank. Y'all Brits different. Y'all different in the war, dog.
Behind enemy lines. While eccentricity makes for great stories, sometimes it's a prerequisite for survival. In Japanese-occupied Burma, the jungle proved just as dangerous as the enemy. Conventional tactics failed. Enter Brigadier Ord Wingate and Mad Mike Calvert, the 2 unorthodox commanders, with an even more unorthodox plan to create long-range air-supplied commando units that would harass Japanese forces far behind enemy lines. Their recruits were a special breed. Men who were either incredibly brave or slightly unhinged. One was a demolition expert from the Black Watch, another a Rhodesian hangman. One reportedly ate cigarettes rather than smoked them. Observers referred to them as odds and sods, including several lunatics and deserters. They were known as the Chindits, a corrupted pronunciation of the Burmese word for lion. Operating in brutal conditions, they built strongholds deep in enemy territory and launched constant raids. When ammunition ran low, they fought hand-to-hand. Stories abound of Japanese troops being killed with rifle butts, helmets, or captured swords. One sergeant is said to have wrestled a katana from a Japanese officer and used it to kill him. Calvert himself once drowned an enemy soldier with his bare hands. The Chindits earned 4 Victoria Crosses, dozens of Distinguished Service Orders, and hundreds of individual decorations. They were feral, fearless, and effective, proof that in certain wars, sanity is optional. Weaponized humor, trolling.
I mean, I feel like if you're gonna have a soldier, you want him to be absolutely fearless when it comes on that battlefield. My days, are these British soldiers that they're talking about? This stuff is like mad. Like my brain can't fathom the absolute fearlessness of these guys. It can't understand how you cannot.
The Third Reich. British humor is infamous, dry, ironic, and often absurd. And yeah, they used it against the Nazis. At some point during the war, the Germans constructed an elaborate fake airfield, complete with wooden hangars, oil tanks, and even mock aircraft. It was an obvious decoy, designed to trick the Allies into wasting bombs on worthless targets. The British knew it was fake almost immediately, but rather than destroy it, they let the Germans keep building. Once the ruse was complete, an RAF bomber flew over and dropped a single bomb. Wooden, of course. Painted on the side
It's that word for wood. The
were
British
the
don't
words
know.
"wood for wood." Whether this tale is entirely true is debatable. Some historians argue it's apocryphal. But eyewitnesses, RAF veterans, and even Luftwaffe personnel have insisted it did happen. And frankly, even if it didn't, it should have. Because dropping a fake bomb on a fake
Yeah.
airfield is exactly the kind of psychological warfare only the British would consider worth the fuel. Still singing
I
as the
love it.
ship sinks.
Only the British that would consider worth the fuel. That would be absolutely perfect. The fact that the Brits let them completely finish it and then was just like, bro, we knew like this wasn't real the whole time. We're not wasting no bombs on these.
This blend of absurdity and defiance didn't end with World War II. In 1982, during the Falklands War, the Royal Navy's HMS Sheffield was struck by an Exocet missile. As the ship burned and began to sink, her crew stood on deck awaiting evacuation. The situation was grim. Smoke thick, waters cold, lives at risk. What did the sailors do? They broke into song. Not just any song, but Monty Python's Always Look on the Bright Side of Life. The irony was sharp, the morale unshaken. The story was taken on board, literally, as the crew of the HMS Coventry also sang the tune when their ship was hit and went down. Apparently, it was a moment that perfectly captured the British wartime spirit, gallows humor wrapped in stoic composure. Conclusion: madness as a method. From swords and umbrellas to teacups and wooden bombs, British eccentricity in wartime wasn't mere showmanship. It was an identity, a national
Yeah.
trait weaponized into morale, mischief, and mayhem. When faced with overwhelming odds, some armies double down on discipline. The British? They'll make tea, charge tanks with walking sticks, and whistle a tune as the bombs fall. And somehow, against all reason, it often works. Because when war turns the world upside down, a little madness might be the sanest thing of all.
True. Yeah, bro. You Brits, you guys never fail to amaze me. You guys are absolutely incredible. The history of these soldiers is just it is absolute madness. But like he said, sometimes you need that madness. Sometimes you need people who don't feel fear, people who don't think the same as you, who aren't don't think logically, who can think outside of the box, who are mad. You need them. Oh, that was crazy. That's all we have. Y'all talk to me in the comment section. I want to hear what y'all thought about these stories. If you enjoyed, don't forget to subscribe, get a bit of thumbs up, check out the next. I'll see y'all next.